Abdul Kul Bazun Tapatat, Madana Bet Mahu Hadus Aishish in the color. Anuki Fian Aishish color, Wakul Aishikanum. Not the Kunafi color. Anuki Per Gunshu color, Wakalu Kalun Fer Gunshun. Anuki Wahid Kakalu, Wakalu Kalun Wahid Mat, Aikilu. Anjihu, Kema Fer Gunshu Kalu, Hukama Feidu. Aikilu Aquenu Kudek Nuka Fili color. Kema Tawuka Makafazi Kadunli, Ambi Ficali. Anuki Kabaha, Kadu Kalun Anuki. Kalu Yaku Ekilu, Kalu Babu, Kamilu, Kawun Findu.
Kawun Fin. The Supreme Grand Elephant Amenubi Ra'akta, also known to many as Atumre, even the Tir Tuhuti, Melchizedek, El Khid, or Malachi Zoda York El, and Rabboni, would like to make a point here again, in order to set the record straight. First and foremost, we, the Egyptian, predate and are the parents of all religion on the planet. Date back over 100,000 years. We birthed the Atlanteans and those of Mu. Our ancient Egyptian ancestors were the first to record religious doctrine, the first to use magic, which became the root of religion or religious miracles. In fact, they were the first to record and the first to pray, of which they called Ashutat. We, the ancient Egyptians, were the first to set up ritual ceremonies, institutions, temples, chapels, and lodges that later became churches, synagogues, and mosques. We, the ancient Egyptians, were the first to respect nature as a whole and set up symbolism for recognition for each living thing. We have been duplicated, perpetrated, imitated, but never replicated. Many have borrowed from us and set up great institutions pretending to the world that they don't know or remember their sources. Jewish, Christians, Muslims, Hindus, Buddhists, and all others are perpetrating a fraud and are guilty of misrepresentation for the simple fact that they refuse to give due recognition to the source of their teaching, Egypt. Not the Egypt you see today in Northeast Africa, and not the impersonators who reside there today, but pre-dynastic Egypt, which birthed the 46th dynasty. So any similarities to the prayer or rituals in this scroll entitled The Prayer of the Ancient Tamariyats, or Egyptians, is recognized because the present-day religious institution, is recognized because the present-day religious establishment have stolen, practiced rituals and ceremonies from ancient Egypt, even borrowing words from the ancient Egyptian language. Every day, new discoveries are confirming the grandeur and majesty of ancient Egypt, and the pictures on the walls do not lie. Who the ancient Egyptians are and what race the ancient Egyptians belong to is apparent. Though many have come into Egypt and have given the ancient drawings false facelifts and fabricated false mummies to deceive the world. And you see that today. When you do your little research, you know that they've been going in the tomb and whitewashing and changing the tones and, you know, of statues or any type of glyphs of people. Even go as far as breaking certain features and, you know, physical traits that might tell them who of what race of people the Egyptians were. Of the three original races, the Negroid is the first. Then you have the Mongoloid, the second race. And the third, the Caucasoid race, the cursed, diseased race. Archaeologists have proven beyond the shadow of doubt that the oldest inhabitants of this planet were the Negroids. And what renders one a pure Negro is their nappy hair or woolly hair, not the color of their skin. Their royal crown is the sign of the first race, the God race. The one race, the only race, or living beings on the earth with nappy hair. We are the mothers and fathers of all others. The word Negroid is from the Latin word negro, from negrito, meaning black, the same as the word Moor, from morenos, simply describing the Nubians, who after being mixed with invaders became the Nubians. The mixed seed, as you see today, with many different shades of skin color and hair texture, but all are from the original black seed of Sudan. So as you can see, names were grafted and changed, and even later, the descendants of the Nubians inherited new titles such as Negro, Nigger, Afro-American, African, and many national titles. When it all comes down to the Nubians, the original Egyptians, Negroids, are the mothers and fathers of civilization. The root seed of incarnated divinity, simply the gods that all others worship yet refuse to respect today. I stressed in 1967 AD, before establishing the first community in 1970 AD, that I came giving you what you want so that you will learn to want what I have to give. Well, we have reached the end of the 30-year period, broken up into 3 steps of 10 years each. And we moved on into the higher knowledge, the overstanding. You should have mastered the knowledge compiled into 3 books. The degree of Mosaicism, which is Judaism, for the Hebrew Israelites, the Jews, etc. 2, the degrees of Christism. Y'all know that, based on the name, Christianity, Catholic, and whatever denomination. Number 3, the degrees of Mohammedanism. Now they call it Islam, of whatever sect. And with those 3, the rudimentary degree of the lesser mysteries have become of age to move on from 3 to the 4 degree of the middle chamber. Number 1, Sufism. Number 2, Kabbalism. Number 3, Magaism. Number 4, Sumerianism. Then on into the 7th degree, which covers all of the Sumerian and Far Eastern studies embodied in the Sons of the Green Light, Sufi order, and the ancient and mystic order of Melchizedek, the Essene, the Magi order. Compiling those 4 degrees will now prepare you to open the 8th chamber on into the 9th chamber of the ancient Egyptian order. You have been trained over a period of 30 years on how to learn an ancient language. Being taught Arabic, Hebrew, some Greek, and cuneiform, now you are prepared to learn the language of tones that vibrates with your body so that you may find your place in the grand plan. Prayer is an exercise just for that purpose, and language is the key to prayer. You speak, then you learn the true art of listening. In 1998, archaeologists have discovered the earliest known writing, and it came from Egypt, not Sumeria and Iraq, as previously mentioned. They got their writings from Egypt. You will find hieroglyphic tablets in Egypt, but not in Sumerian tablets in Egypt. Sumerian culture is Egyptian culture. Sumerian culture is Egyptian culture. So in 1998 AD, they found on the stela a relief of a tree and a pharaoh whose name is recorded as Agrub, or Scorpion, discussing taxes and other important governmental and national policies. So it was our ancient Egyptian ancestors who gave the world its first and one of its greatest achievements and civilizations, recording what they did and saw, not to mention all of the sports, government laws, medical records, and the list goes on and on. So move on with pride. Be proud of being a true Egyptian, Temereyat, or Temerei, in the great ancient Egyptian order. Diagram showing the stela. The following Ashutat prayer is recited before you begin the entire Ashutat prayer ceremony. Yana Tirushil Kulpana Tirat, O deity of all the deities. Entutan Atapa Aun Al Kul Aun, which translates as, you all are the nature above all nature. Entutan Ata Hayyo Al Kul Hayyo, you all are life above all life. Inen Athahin Ahud Yawum Wa Ushad, we are here each day and shadow hour or night. Liya Ashuddik and Tutan Sofa Haruswa, to pray that you all will protect and Hadoina Biwasati Kul Wagutat, guide us through all times. This is the part that you begin your Ashutat with. Of course, we know to start all prayers, thinking and deed with the all affirmation, and then you go into this part. This means that we, the Temereyats, Egyptians, were writing long before the Sumerians, as mentioned above. We, the Temereyats, were the first to do all things, and different cultures grafted their lifestyle from the Egyptian, such as the way of Temereyat's prayer. Even though our prayer may look like the Muslims' prayer or Salat, the Muslims stole their prayer system from the Christians, and the Christians stole their prayer system from the Jews, Silat. And the Jews stole theirs from the Persians, Ras. And both the Persians and the Jews stole theirs from the Temereyat, ancient Egyptian, Ashutat, which means prayer, which are us, Temereyans, or Temeri, meaning Ta, earth, Ma, water, and Ri, sun. The title, Tefu, that was previously used simply applies to the Book of Psalms as a Tefillin. And all know that the commandments of the Old Testament were the negative confession of ancient Egypt from the Book of the Dead, recorded by the Wab, Egyptian priest. It is no coincidence that I tell you that in the Judaic religion, they too stole things from the ancient Egyptian culture. The Ten Commandments of Leviticus 20:1 through 19 of the Bible was taken directly out of the Book of the Dead from the Declaration of Innocence before the Natirat of the tribunal, such as thou shalt not kill, Old Testament, Exodus 20, verse 13, is the exact same thing as I have not slain people. Only in the Bible, they take the declaration and turn them into commandments from a so-called all-powerful God who had to create laws. Take a look at the comparison between the Book of the Dead, which existed before the Old Testament of the Bible. The ancient Egyptian Declaration of Innocence, number one, O wise strider, who came forth from Anu, Heliopolis, I have not done wrong. They took it in the monotheistic side of things, monotheism, the Ten Commandments, copied it and put, you will not betray yourself to them, nor slave them. For I, a Yahuwah, Elohim, am a jealous El, or God, the one visiting the iniquity of the father upon the children of the third and the fourth generation of them that hates me. Basically, don't do wrong, or I'm gonna punish you. That's the God of the Bible, right? Or a lot of religions today. Number two, O fire embracer, who came forth from Hermopolis, ancient religious site of Middle El-Kham, another word for Egypt, or Temeré, associated with Tahuti. I have not robbed. The Bible took it and said, thou shalt not steal, or you shall not steal. Number three, O swallower of shade, who came forth from Kernet, I have not slain people. Goes number three, in the Old Testament, thou shalt not kill, or you are not to fight to kill. Number four, O terrible face, who came forth from Rasta, Roset Jau, name of the necropolis of Giza, or Memphis, also passes in the leading of the other world. I have not destroyed the food offering. This became in the commandments, remember thy Sabbath, the day to keep it holy. Or remember the Sabbath, the day to keep it holy. Number five, O doubly evil one, who came forth, the Besserite, known, I have not had intercourse with a married woman. Number five, this translates in the Old Testaments of the Bible, the Ten Commandments, as you are not to commit abomination. They gotta, and then of course they have different versions of it that revise. Keep changing certain words around in the Bible, different versions of it. The Jews acquired their lifestyle from Egypt when they came in along with their master, the Hyksos, as Hyksos, or the Hikachasut as Hyksos, which is a Greek word meaning ruler of the foreign land. And in the ancient Egyptian language, it is Hyksos. The Hyksos lived under the Canaanites in the land of Canaan, the cursed seed of the Torah, Old Testament in Genesis chapter 9, verse 25, and Leviticus chapter 13, 15. The seed was cursed with leprosy or albinism, who were the Hyksos. You notice nowadays they're saying that it's becoming rampant again. I just posted something in the Telegram room to let you know that leprosy is on the rise again.
Didn't really probably think you had to worry about leprosy. The CDC is sending out a warning for Florida, and this is what the disease looks like. You get a rash and bumps underneath your skin.
The CDC is calling this an endemic in Florida.
Ain't that interesting? Today, it was in the news. The Hyksos conquered a small area from Jabalim in the delta along the trade route of southern Palestine, with Avaris as its center, which was the Thebes of Upper Egypt, and reigned for a period of 100 years. The Hyksos stronghold was based in Lower Egypt. However, Sechenri, the ruler, Afirti, another word of saying ruler of Pharaoh, at the time initiated conflict with the Hyksos, Basar, but was killed in battle. His wife, Hetep or Hotep, took over the kingdom. It was their son, Afirti, Gahmos, who eventually conquered and pushed out the Hyksos from Egypt. Hetep, Sekhenri's wife, has given him two sons, Gahmos and Ahmos. His eldest son, Gahmos, made the greatest impression of the kingdom. Records of his reign are recorded on wooden tablets. The Afirti summoned his council and explained the situation to them. This was far from hopeful. Who wants to read this part?
Right. I know what my courage is for. There is a pharaoh at Avaris, and there is another at Cush. I am sitting like a hyphen between the Arab and the Nubian. Those who dwell in the Black Land share their possessions with me. I cannot make him cross at Memphis, the water of Egypt. Now he is in possession of Homopolis. There is no one left who is not overwhelmed by the taxes of the Asiatics. I am going to meet him to cleave his belly. It is in my heart to deliver Egypt and to strike the Arabs.
So the counselors believed that there should be no action taken and that there was no lack of anything. However, Afirti, or the Pharaoh, Gahmos, acclaimed himself as liberator of Egypt, and so Gahmos went with his army with no resistance until it reached Middle Egypt. The Hyksos king now tried in vain to establish contact with the ruler of the Nubian kingdom of Kerma in order to engage Thebes on two fronts. However, his messenger was captured. Needless to say, the Hyksos were conquered. So they drove them out. Afirti Kahmos celebrated his victory with two steles. They are written in the same way, and they may have been set up beside each other in the temple of Karnak. The second stela is still intact, referred to the ancient Egyptian and the Pharaoh scroll number 190. Don't worry, we will be going through these scrolls for everybody that don't have it. Tie up? All right. Nefertiti Kahmos saw himself as the master of avarice. Kahmos spent the last years of his life preparing his tomb like his ancestors, the pharaoh of the 17th dynasty. Unfortunately, Kahmos did not live to see the entirety of his accomplishment. Kahmos' brother, Nefertiti Ahmos, was the next in line to keep control of the Theban kingdom, where he continued to conquer and push the Hyksos out of Egypt. Nefertiti Ahmos led the second attack on the Hyksos, which was even more successful than his brother. The city of Memphis was captured, and the Thebans fleet, led by Ahmos, marched on to the city of Avaris, which was the Hyksos capital. Finally, the city surrendered. Ahmos took over the capital, which he then extended and decorated. The rightful ruler was back in power, and the foreign invaders had been defeated. The boundaries of Egypt had been redefined, and the southern borders were situated deep in what is now Sudan, near Abu Hamid. And the northern border extended as far as the Euphrates to the country called Naharin. Egypt rose to a world power. This is the brothers. The Hyksos took with them Egyptian culture and spreading it throughout the Middle East. It became the foundation of the three monotheistic religions: Mosaicism, which is Judaism, Christism, which is Christianity, and Mohammedanism, which is Islam, that plague the world today. Now, as for the 46th dynasty, there is no coincidence that the 46th dynasty relates to the 46th chromosome and is referring to the mixing of the race. As you can see on the diagram that was off the wall, they have different races of man that was run by the Nubians, or the Nubians. Mixing our seed with the cursed seed of Canaan is why we are no longer pure, but are now Nubians, from Nub or Nubian to Nubians. It was Cushites, or Cush, if you notice that, mixed in, and now we're considered from Nub to Nubians, or Nubia. Or they would say in their language, Nubi. The mixing opened the gate and invasion of Europeans, such as the Armenians, who became gypsies, which is one of the reasons why the land was called Egypt, as in gypsies, Egyptians. So that is definitely a wrong name. And even the word listen to the prefix of Ethiopia, Ethiop and Egypt. All of this is Europeanized or Hellenized words. This is how they was able to faraka, as in Africa or Africa, the word to divide us, to make it appear that we are separate people from one another based on name and location. But we all were one, and as you can tell, we went even past the Tigris or the Euphrates, on over even farther east of the place that is wrongfully called Africa today. These are the people that was invading, like they love doing. Other invaders include the Turks, who are European, the French, who are European, the Greeks, who are European, along with other Europeans, all from the 11 sons of the cursed seed of Canaan, who were either allowed to settle there or they had conquered it. These are the tribes of the cursed seed of Canaan of Genesis chapter 10, verse 15. Sidonites, Hethites, Jebusites, Amorites, Girgasites, Havites, Archites, Sinites, Arvadites, Zamorites, and Hamathites. Refer to Let's Set the Record Straight scroll number 360. As these different tribes invaded Egypt, such as the Armenites, Assyrians, called Chaldeans, who crossed over from the Tigris Euphrates, who were called Hebrews or Jews in the Bible, plagiarized documents from the Sumerians and the Phoenicians with names and stories slightly altered to give a nomadic, wandering, cursed seed race an identity, even to the point of referring to themselves as God's chosen. And the gods of the Babylonian was Baal, who was none other than Ner-Mer, Ner-Mer, or Menez, Enoch, Adapha, and Idris, whom they worshipped. Y'all heard that. Pay attention to this. You know, this is, you have the book of Adapha. You understand? This was Menez. Baal later on became known as Al or El, as in Gabriel, Raphael, Zamael, El, Lord, Baal. Gal is another one that's older, that takes you through ancient Sumerian, Babylonian, and Akkadian names of it. As it started changing with the letters, it became Gal or Baal to El, which is the E, not the A-L one, El. Okay, this is where you get, like I said, your Aramic Hebrew names from, you know, Uriel, Raphael, El, the Baals, all of the gals. Okay, the Bible plagiarized documents from the Sumerian and the Phoenicians with names and stories slightly altered to give to a nomadic, wandering, cursed seed race an identity, even to the point of referring to themselves as God's chosen. And the god of Babylonians was Baal, and the god of Babylon or Babylonians was Baal, who was none other than Nemir. Pay attention to that. The reason why I'm emphasizing that, because this is going to change the whole outlook on the Israelites and the Yahwehians and the Inkiites, you know what I mean? All of that is going to come into fruition later on as we build on in these classes. All right? To set the record straight on all of this. Nimir or Menez. Also, Enoch, Adaba or Adafa. This is another way of saying Adaba, Adafa, Adafa or Ata. D and T is interchangeable too, like Atun or Adone. You know what I mean? So Atun Pata or Feta, right? As in the opener, Adafa, right? It translates. Idris, Darsu, from the word Darasa, meaning to teach or to learn, the learned one. He learned directly from Geb or Ta or Ingi, okay? Whom they worship. So their book referred to these invading tribes as the Chaldeans, Mizraimites, Kishites, Syrians, Phoenicians, and eventually the Greek Edonians. And the Romans created your Hyksos. The 46th dynasty for 46 chromosomes referred to the mixing or the mixed race. Different names were applied to original Tamadean Egyptian ancestors to suit their culture, like Kemet or Hamites from Ham of their Bible in Genesis 6 verse 10, the father of Canaan. Ham was the son of Noah, Genesis chapter 6, verse 9. But Noah was really Utnapishtim. His other name was Zosutra. You find his story, if you say his name Zosutra backwards, it would be Atrahasis. Just like that the Enuma Elish and the Gilgamesh epics. So you'll find the story of the great Deluge way before the scriptures, the Bible, the Quran, etc., the Torah, and all of that goes all the way to the tablets, right?
Who you run that backwards to your sutra and that you run that too quick. You just slow that down and say that again.
Atrahasis is the name
right.
of the right. Zosutra.
It's Atrahasis backwards.
Read it, write it.
Yeah. All right.
It's right in front of you because the language were, understand this, different. The alphabets were different back then. What you consider alphabet then over here, when you read the language, you can read it right to left and left to right.
Right.
Values. You know what I mean? That breaks other codes within a text. Yes. All right. Getting somewhere, y'all.
You're good.
All right. So Noah's name was Utnapishtim of the Gilgamesh epics. Again, another history or story stolen that was taught to you. Many things were picked up from the original Temerayat, meaning Egyptians, and incorporated into their different cultures, festivities, and religion in Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. But it all came from this place wrongfully called Egypt. Just as the secret societies, as Freemasons, Shriners, Rosicrucian, Knights of Columbia, Astara, and others, all got their teachings from Egypt. Look at the pictures below of George Washington, the so-called first president who was a Freemason. Look at his stance. Where did the Freemasons get this from? Of course, us, the ancient Egyptians. Everything leads back to ancient Egypt, and there is no denying it. Refer to the year 2000 and what to expect, scroll 156. Pictures within this very scroll will verify from hieroglyphs, meaning sacred carvings, off the walls of Tamaray, Egypt, that predates and existed prior to the birth of Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, and even before Adam and Abraham. The actual writing on the walls of Egypt prove that the Mohammedans, who are the Islam, the Muslims, right, don't even have an original form of prayer. So don't let them say that, because these practices were not theirs, but really ours. The Muslims, as usual, like everything about Islam, stole it along with the Christians and the Jews from Egypt. Learn your Ashutat, your prayer, as said in the ancient Egyptian mystery language, Nuwapi. I pause over there so y'all can let it resonate on that. Nuwapi. Teach it to your children and make it a part of your life. Be proud of it. What is it? Nuwapi, Nuwapi. Be proud of it, or I'm going to take it away from you. Right? That's what the master teacher is saying. With our own language, it is one final step towards breaking the spell of Leviathan. Hebrew, Kingu, Sumerian, and in Egypt is called Aman. You should also learn and perform your Mugharaj, your pilgrimage. The purpose of Mugharaj is to realign yourself with your etheric parents who are linked to the Natir or Natiru, who are trying to reach you. Refer to the Mugharaj scroll number 171. The if you are a part of the ancient Egyptian order, then you should also take part in the element ceremony. Pasafun, Tamarayat, Istelgan. The ancient Egyptian initiation, as well as other rituals and ceremony revived after thousands of years for you. Be proud of who and what you are as an Egyptian, and do not be afraid to let the world know. Now we're going to go into the Melutat, or the rites, what we know to be true. All right.
Nuwapian Malutat, Wapian rights. Kalumat Chil Haguk, words of truth. Malutatna Ata Nadur, Pa Hotep Muli Malutat. Our rights are called the peaceful rights. Inen Ayana, Kawun Fin Chil Kulun, Wahan Pi Kulun, Pa Tamil, Bashinet Nun, Wa Nunet, Heh, Wa He Het, Ke, Wa Kiket, Amun, Wa Amunet, Wa Pa Sajet, Amun Ray, Shu, Fifth Nut, Ged, Nut, Asari, Asit, Satuk, Neptet, Kurinet, P. Wahid, Pa Neteret. We have confirmed existence of all and those inside all. The 8 Abdars, Nu and Nunet, Heh and Hihet, Keh, and Kiket, Amun and Amunet, and the 9 Enanet, Amun Ri, Shu, Tifnut, Geb, Nut, Asari, Asit, Satuk, Neptet, all names in one, the deities. Wafi Abid Arugat Minu Khaluk Wa Dadun Ilud 1 Ilud 2 Nomos 3 Anunnaki 4 Netiru Wa Kul Han Ashut Pa Anli Wahidat. And in the 4 races who created and grew us, 1 Elu, 2 Nomos, 3 Anunnaki, 4 deities, and all those sent, the heavy ones. Wapi Pa Darukna, Shil Pa Mud Amar, Tajul Ala, Lohat, Tuf, Wa Ayutat, Ash Mulud, Pa Daturat, Birin Ilu, Gadush Lohat Pa Safun Da Kurunet, Chil Atumri, Safun Lohat Chil Tamari, Pa Shift Chil Pa Mawut, Pa Shift Chil Pa Hadu Dashu Pi Yawum, Pa Shift Chil Amudet, Pa Shift Chil Kahufnet, Pa Shift Chil Pa Awi Bagu, Pa Shift Chil Pa Yawum, Pa Shift Chil Pa Ta, Pa Shift Chil Bawubat, Pa Shift Chil Maktufpa, Sarunet Pa Shift Chil, Hushet Pa Shift Chil Anat, Pa Shift Chil Harum Pa Habush, Nasupat Tawi Chilri Mir, Nasupat Pa Agul, Wa Pa Kamunle. And in the records of the past, as recorded on the tablets, papyrus, and the walls, which birthed the scriptures, namely El's holy tablets, the sacred records of Atumri, sacred tablets of Tamari, the book of the dead, the book of the coming forth by day, the book of Amduel, the book of Tavern, the book of celestial Ka, the book of the day, the book of the earth, the book of gates, the book of the hidden secrets, the book of night, the book of heavens, the book of the netherworld, the coffin text, the litany of Re, the pyramid text, the mind and the potential. Wati Taluchil Netirura Atumri Wa Amun Patabu Pari Pa Manushin Hayu Alata. And in the triad of deities, Ra Atunri, Amun, the motion of the sun, the source of life on earth. Office. Wa inen kaman adu kuchid pa halal wabat pa nanya wahidat pa afertiat. And we also respect all of the spiritual masters, the noble, the pharaoh, our national rights. Wa inen ata pa aslunel tamirayet wa inen karun nafsna manuf nafsna tamirayi istabna la kutna wapik yamun lana ulatat nafsna adutat daguf masug ragus wa labus. And we are the original Egyptians, and we have our own flag, our own Egyptian constitution, our own language, our language, the Wapik, our national rights, our own customs, culture, music, dance, and dress. Di Kalun Hag, that's true. Di Kalun Pahagu, that is the truth. All right.
All right. I hope y'all remember that. Some of y'all, when y'all get this copy, try to add that as your rights. And also learning it in our language helps you, create the tones and the frequency, the proper tones and frequency. Eventually, you and I also help you understand how to speak our language effectively as well, and how we speak it.
I got a question. So are we supposed to say these rights before we do the Ashutat?
No. This is just right that you remember, type of stuff that you put on your wall. This is stuff that you always remember. This is not what you have to say before Ashutat. Okay? But if you choose to, if you want to, by all means, not saying that you don't have to either. You know what I mean? I'm just saying that this is not one of those things. It was for, for you to understand our rights. Those of the ancient terminology. Anybody want to say anything? So I had everybody that showed up in the shadow hour. You got Tahiti house.
We are a couple of us. Yeah, a couple of us here tonight. This shadow. And we are more than one on one of the screens. So yeah, we here.
Kahoon team. Let's go. Tie up.
Are we reading from the Holy Tablets?
We're reading from the Ashutat. This is our prayer. Ashutat meaning prayer, our prayer system. This is what, this is going into explaining that, the origin and where most religion has stolen it from, all the positions, things and certain rights that it came from us. And then it will go into the washing system, how you prepare for the prayer that we do, the time of the day, you know what I mean, when you can. This is not a religion, so this is not like, you're gonna go to hell or anything like that. But this is the scroll right here. It's called Pa Ashutat, the prayer. All right? And this Ashutat is for you to connect connect us to our ancestors and get ourselves in line again. Proper frequency. That's as we say, Ashutat Patarugi La Panatirat. Ashutat is the road to the deity, back to your original deities who are alive within us all. You follow? Or. All right, so we're gonna end it with the all affirmation, and again, Tower Hat showing up, all the new faces. Or.
All right. Abdul Kul Bazoon Tafatat, Wadana Ben Mahu Hadis Aisha Inukul, Anuki Fian Aisha Shukalu, or Kul Aisha Kalu. Na to kunafi kalu. Anuki fer the gunshu kalu. Kalu kalun fer the gunshu. Anuki wahid kakab. Wa kalu kalun wahid man. Look aikilu, anjilu. Kama fer the gunshu kalu wa khub kama feidu. Look aikilu a hoino kudet. Look a fizu kalu. Kama tabu kama kafazi kalu li amidu kalu. Anuki kabaha wa hood. Kalu kalun anuki. Kalu yaku aikilu. Kalu babu nukabi. Begin our prayers, thinkings, and deeds with who divine love and all. I am in the love of all and all of us. We are all in all. I am a part of all and all is a part of me. I am one with all and all is one. I can succeed as a part of all and fail as an individual. I can be all I wish in all, as long as my wish is to stay in all. I am never alone. All is I am. All can I can. All does I can. Who am I? Kamu atun kamu.
Kawun fin, kawun fin. Thank y'all. Nfe Ashutat, Kumana.
What do?
Wadu.
Wadu.
Nah, he was the only time.